Hello, I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that might take us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here is to seriously not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to the We Need Help podcast. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and this week we are doing Big FriendSH, How We Keep Each Other Close by Aminatu Sow and Ann Friedman.
Today we discuss this book. It's a biography about these two women's friendship that they wrote in great detail. And we'll discuss the very delicate relationship in all women's life called friendship. Tell us about the authors.
Yeah, so there's two of them. There's Aminatu Sow and Ann Friedman. Aminatu Sow, they run a podcast together, first of all, which I think that's what attracted us to this book, because I'm like, oh, well, we do a podcast, so let's see if they're similar to us.
They're exactly like us. They're not.
Well, Aminatu Sow, she's a United States-based businesswoman, digital strategist, writer, podcast host, and co-founder of Tech Lady Mafia. And she co-hosts this podcast, which is called Call Your Girlfriend, with her friend who is a journalist and editor, Ann Friedman. I think Aminatu Sow is like the main author. And yeah, she's basically a smart lady. She grew up in Nigeria. She's the child of diplomats. And, you know, that's what I can say.
She sounds very interesting.
She is very interesting. I think that the most, what are they known for?
Like
okay. You might have our listeners might have heard something called, because they popularized.
Pop it up.
They popularized the term shine theory, which is a commitment to collaborating with each other as women rather than competing against each other. So it's called shine theory. I'm sure you have all maybe heard of it, maybe not, but it's just a theory that women should support each other rather than compete with each other. Yeah. So they coined that theory, that term. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about them.
And what about Ann? Do you know anything about Ann?
So Ann, she's a magazine editor. She's a journalist. She's a podcaster. She's a pie chart artist, which I just thought was fascinating. Like,
I have no idea what that is.
So pie charts, when you want to show statistics or like a graph, you can show it in a pie chart.
I know a pie chart from like when Jason tries to talk budget with me and he says this much is going to clothes and food. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I have knowledge of a pie chart because I have this wonderful app that I use called Spending, where I have to put in my, like, whatever I spend, I put it in there. And then at the end of the month, I can tilt the screen of my iPhone and it creates a pie chart automatically. And then like, the biggest piece is always blue. And it's always Uber Eats.
Mine
Uber
too.
Eats sushi.
Mine too.
So I'm like, that it's like pie. Yeah, that makes sense. So she's a pie chart artist. I have not seen her pie chart art. But that's something
according to Jason,
maybe.
And when we bring up the Mint app, which I hate seeing when he pulls it out, I too am a pie chart artist when it comes to the budget.
You're like, I like using the big blue, and it's, but it's interesting. So, go for it. Yeah. Be a pie chart artist. So, yeah.
Pie chart artists. Okay.
Writing that down. So
writing that down.
Yeah. I mean, today we just want to talk about sort of paralleling their journey in the book, but what we suck at when it comes to friendship. We want to tell our friendship origin story, which is what they were sort of talking about in the beginning, what makes friendships, and finally maybe what breaks friendships, which is, I think, the most painful part.
I do think that, like, when it comes to friendship, women of all ages have the highest highs and the lowest lows. I truly believe that friendship makes or breaks a life, and I think that I want to say, first off, I'm grateful that they wrote this book because it's going to invoke a pretty powerful conversation. I will also say that I don't think that this book did friendship justice in any way, shape, or form because it can be so intimate and it really can. And maybe they just didn't tell their vulnerable story. But like, I think that this book didn't really do friendship justice in a way, but it's going to get us talking about it. And I think we should all be talking about friendship more often and honoring it. So let's talk about our friendship origin story.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Yeah, and I did like that. I mean, it's so funny because I almost felt like they were in sort of a parallel universe that just wasn't as, I don't know,
cool
or deep or, because they were talking about the friendship origin story. Like, how did you two meet? I love the how did you two meet stories.
Me too.
Maciek always makes fun of me because whatever party I go to, wherever I am, whoever we meet, I always ask the couples, how did you two meet? He always rolls his eyes because he thinks it's so American. I'm like, well, I'm American.
Yeah.
So
newsflash.
And they talked about this too in the book, how they always ask when they see two friends, they always ask the friendship origin story, how did you two meet? So why don't we talk about it? How did we meet?
Well, first of all, I am going to start doing that with friends because I think it is really interesting. So I'm going to take that from them. Thank you, Aminatu and Anne. Aminatu. Well, we met on our friend Mike D, one of our dear friends. He had posted this picture, and I want you to picture him down on one knee, surrounded by these two, how would you describe them? They had huge fake breasts, both of them.
I would say Playboy bunnies.
Playboy bunnies. Okay.
Yeah, Playboy bunnies.
That's easy for you to say because they both had the tanning stamp of Playboy bunnies on their wherever, like right where your ovaries are.
Yeah, right where your I think one of them. Yeah, right where your left ovary would be. They had the stamp that you put, the sticker that you put on.
You used to tan in the 90s
to see what. How tan you are, how tan you can be, So they each had the cute bunny thing. But their heads were cut off.
So we're not actually judging or shaming women at all. These aren't real women. They're just like, let's pretend that they were like cardboard cutouts of women. So we're not offending whomever these people are.
It was Mike D's head, and he had this, he looked like... He was lecherous. He was like, I can't describe the look on his face, but like he was a hungry wolf. The wolf in the cartoons that's like, and sticks his tongue out. Like that was Mike.
Yeah.
And then his head was like right where their
belly button,
where their ovaries were.
Yeah.
Bunny on each side.
Bunny on each side and breasts everywhere. And we both started commenting on it. We had no idea who each other was. And somebody said, these girls look like they bleached their assholes.
Was it me or you? We have to look.
I don't know, but the race was on. And long story short, a friendship was born. And Mike woke up to 500 different comments on a thread. I'm sure he thought something that he did the night before went fucking viral.
Yeah, like he looked and it was like, you have 500 new notifications. And I think his stomach just dropped down through his asshole, which is not bleached.
I can't confirm or deny that.
I can't see Dutella bleaching his asshole.
No, he doesn't bleach his asshole.
No. If anything, he like darkens it because he's Italian and that's like a sign of manhood.
Italian.
Like you need to have a black... The blackest asshole is
it's the best asshole.
So we spent like the whole day commenting because it was
the best day of my life.
We were riffing. We were just riffing back and forth, and
we were obsessed. I couldn't wait for the next ping on Facebook.
Yeah, and a friendship was born. A friendship was born,
and the best part is Mike D wakes up somewhere in the neighborhood at 11:30 in Scottsdale, which I think is like 5 o'clock everybody else's time. And he said one sentence. I was wondering when you two were going to meet. That's it.
Done.
He had nothing witty to say, nothing like, like, oh God, he didn't shame us for our our ridiculousness. I wondered when you two were going to meet. And then I was kind of mad at him for not introducing us because we were so perfect for each other.
He didn't want to be, I think he was afraid of that.
He was sandbagging. He was sandbagging us.
What's sandbagging? Sorry. I've been in Poland
Sandbagging
for
is
so
holding
long.
back. Holding
okay.
back.
Like you put sandbags so the flood doesn't get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm smart.
He was sandbagging us. Yeah, and I would like to personally say, Mike D, this podcast is dedicated to you.
This one's for you, buddy.
We love you.
Man.
We love you. Always. Mike D and I have a amazing friendships origin story.
Okay, what's your origin story with Mike D?
It's real quick. We were at our favorite. We both had the same like go-to restaurant. It was called the hell is it called? Can't remember right now. I'm having a brain lapse.
But I think you told me Bach with a B.
Bach, the wine god.
Yeah. Bacchus.
Nibbles.
Bacchus Nibbles.
Like, okay, sorry, Matt.
Oh, I know this.
Sorry, Matt.
I know the Lizzy on a Jeopardy question. What is Bacchus Nibbles?
Yes, thank you. Well, we went there so often that the owner, Matt, came to our wedding, Jason and my wedding. That's how often we were there. So anyway, we were there. I saw an open seat. I sat in it and I was talking to somebody and I get like a tap on my shoulder and I was like, I turned around. I was like, yes. He's like, you're in my seat. And I go, yeah, thanks. And I turned back around. And he was like standing there like I never looked back.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends. And we have been ever since. So,
So what attracts you to friends? Like, what is the thing, the spark, what has it been historically in your life?
I mean, you got to have a smart mouth at the beginning. You've got to be able to hold your own. And then, you got to be deep. I can't like, if you're like, I have scuba gear on all the time. I want to go deep with someone. I don't want someone who has experienced absolutely no pain. I don't need anybody who doesn't have a grasp on what life's about. Mm-hmm. And for me, you can't understand me. It's not that I can't understand you. It's perfectly fine, like, to have how's the weather conversation. For me, I can do that. But I need somebody to be able to go to my depth. And if you haven't experienced pain, it's going to be all me giving to you, and no, you're not going to be able to understand me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about you?
Sense of humor. Like that's what I always like. That's the hook. That's the hook that gets it is like a common language. That's like it's a self-deprecating. I need that if you take yourself too seriously, we're probably not going to be friends. I need somebody who's like, can make fun of themselves and does on a regular basis. So that is really important to me.
And you have to think like I think there's something about somebody who like has a healthy understanding of they can do wrong a lot of it.
Yeah. I think the deep too, but they have to have a sense of humor about it. So somebody who's willing to like have a sense of humor about their pain. So that's what attracts me to people. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. So what are some of your like struggles with friendship? In this book, so they talked about their struggles, how they like were together really intense and then they grew apart, and we're not going to get into it because it wasn't that exciting, but
the problem with the book and the reason that you're saying that is because like the universe just simply has not knocked their dick in the dirt enough. You know, like they have not had like they haven't been sprawled out, tampons rolling down the sidewalk enough. You know what I mean? Like they just haven't fallen down enough.
Yeah.
And it was like so for when it comes to friendship, I mean, I've always been open to new friendships. Therefore, I have had a lot of experience with friendships not panning out, friendships ending, growing out of friendships. Some friendships are a book and some friendships are a chapter. And some friendships are mild mention just to get to something. You know what I mean? Like, It's like friendship is such a big word. I almost think that there should be different levels.
It's interesting. In Poland, there's different words for friends. So there's przyjaciel, which is like kind of bestie, but like just a heart friend. There's znajomy, which is like more of like associate. There's just different words for the different levels of friend. There's kolega, which is like more of a colleague. But so there's just different levels of friendship, and that's really interesting because in the U.S.
we
there's
have
like
those
friends,
words, but we overuse the word friend.
Exactly.
We should say associate. We should say, someone colleague. I mean, not everyone is our friend.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like really, really important.
I think I'm not shaming them for not having enough pain because I think that like, if you don't, you don't. But it's like, I think when you're writing a book, there needs to be a little bit of drama, there needs to be some drama.
There's nothing wrong. Right? Like, even if it's not there, there's nothing wrong. There's no shame in writing a fiction book.
Yeah.
Make it up.
Make it up.
Make it up. Make it up. I mean, did Aminatu fuck Anne's boyfriend? Maybe. Okay.
She should have.
Now we got like
world.
Now we got like a story. Let's talk about it.
Although I do have to say, one of their struggles was the interracial friendship, which I think they could have taken that and run with it. They made it a chapter. All the other chapters were like, they had like their friendship origin story, which was, we met at a Gossip Girl screening. Yeah. And then they had like their struggles, which were, I was working a job and it was a little.
I had an iron deficiency. Who the hell has had an iron deficiency?
I have an iron deficiency.
Who doesn't? Who isn't tired? Who isn't confused?
Yeah, so that was that. But then they did get the chapter that was the most interesting for me was when they were talking about their struggles having an interracial friendship and what that looks like. So I think that should have been the whole book rather than
call to action. Write a book about having an interracial friendship. I think that the water's ready for it. We're hot. The world needs this.
Yeah, you guys published like a month too early. So.
Yeah, seriously, that's the story that needs to be told by them.
Yeah.
Because they, are so, throughout the entire book, they were very political and very, they wanted to talk politics. They wanted to talk about the racial climate. And I think they should have. That's what the book should have been about. But the book was not about a friendship.
Yeah. It didn't go deep enough. It was like in the shallows.
In the shallows.
Lost
in the shallow.
Not going to go there.
I love you, Lady Gaga. Okay. Anyway.
So friendship struggles. What do you need help with when it comes to friendship? Like where do you struggle?
Well, I've had some pretty good ones. I've had some doozers.
Some doozers.
One of my favorite friendship fails is like the time that because I'm super, super codependent.
Yeah.
That I felt Scarlett rides horses. And
Scarlett is your daughter.
My daughter, yeah. In case you're wondering. She's 9 years old. This is a couple of years ago, and she was riding with her friend. Her friend was taking lessons, and we were leasing a horse for Scarlett. And the family,
I didn't know you could do that, by the way. Like,
yes, it's not. It's like renting a car, kind of, except for way more expensive. And horses are just ridiculous. So anyway, it was to the point where it was time for us to buy Scarlett her own pony. And so my friend and her little girl who was taking lessons with Scarlett, they didn't want to spend the money on having a horse or leasing a horse. But I felt so bad for the little girl, which was making my friend feel really bad that she couldn't provide or wouldn't provide really a pony for her little girl, that I bought Scarlett a pony and then continued leasing the pony for the other little girl. And I just said, pay me what you can. And so I leased a pony for a friend once. It was a rough tell for Jason. Like, I had to tell him, and he was not happy at all. Because I totally went out of bounds for friendship. I shouldn't have done it. It was ridiculous. And it was not met with gratitude, let me just tell you. It was not. It was resented. So I go way over and above for friendships, and they can't possibly give that back to me in return. So it sometimes ends up in resentment.
Yeah, that makes total sense because it makes them feel even more inadequate rather than grateful. They're like, I could never pay her back. So then they're stressing because
now they're trying to justify what I've done. Yeah. And they're like, well, I do this for her and I do that for her. And now we've just got tumultuous waters.
Yeah. There's this book that I think we should do at a later episode. It's all about transactional love. Meaning, if you give me one, I got to give you one, and I have that a lot in my head sometimes. Like, I do this for you, you have to do this for me. The scales have to be balanced sometimes, and I'm trying to not do that.
Well, my theory is, and I stand by this, is actions do not have to be even, but respect does. Okay. And respect in a friendship. Honoring my friendship. I have several friends that couldn't possibly, they don't have the time to do what I do for them, but they do for me. They think about me. They honor me in the way that they're constantly honoring me in their way of doing things. And I think that that's really important to acknowledge. And, I probably would have never noticed that there was a resentment. I wouldn't have noticed. And that's another problem, is I don't really notice people getting overwhelmed with my, it's controlling behavior. Because I don't want them to hurt. I want the best for them. And it really is me, like, trying to pad their fall all the time. And it's bad. I shouldn't do it.
Yeah. My mentor always, sometimes I'll call her up and I'm like, I'm trying to help her. And she's, not wanting my help. And my mentor's always like, did she ask for your help? I'm like, no. Yeah. She didn't, and here I am trying to help. And that's,
Yeah. I've had to learn a lot, even with first with my sisters that way.
Yeah.
I've given them a car. It's ridiculous. And they're not asking for these things. And then they're resentful to the point, they're resentful to the point that they don't even, if I give their children so much, not all my sisters, but they don't feel like they can do that for my child. So they don't even try. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think I've really tried to be better about not being overwhelming and boundaryless with my love. Mm-hmm. So it's been a huge struggle for me in friendship. I often I'm sometimes the last to know that it's not a friendship. Sometimes it's actually transactional in the way that like, I'm their client or their customer.
And you think you're their friend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like, sometimes that's just the real deal of it. And I don't think of anybody like that because I don't really like think of money in the same way that everybody else thinks of it.
Yeah.
It's a means to an end. It's freedom over time.
Yeah.
It's saving time. And sometimes, I'm just a customer,
Yeah.
I guess that's the reality of it. What about you? What are your friendships?
Oh,
What's your struggles with friendships?
so, as maybe our listeners know or they don't, I'm in recovery. So before I kind of see my life as two lives. So it was like before sobriety and then after sobriety. And I was a horrible friend when I was in active addiction, like horrible.
What does that mean?
I was a taker. And I did not respect, all I could think of like was what this person could do for me. I didn't see them as what I could bring to the table, what I could do for this person as a friend. And I used people. And I think a lot of people just they were done with me. And I think the relationship you have with others reflects the relationship you have with yourself. And I did not like myself, so therefore I couldn't truly like the other people. So I lost a lot of friends, and I think that's been really, really hard. Because I can't get those friendships back. There's some amends that I just cannot make. And I tried, and I did, have a process where I was contacting people from my past and I was making amends for my behavior, but there was some of them were just done. They're like, don't ever call me. That's fine. That's great that you're getting your life together now, but I'm just done. And those were painful. Like there was one I had, when I went to Marquette University, I had a best friend there, and I just kept shitting on her. And she's like, I just can't take it anymore. And then she was just done one day. And I took it, I took that for granted. I thought she would always be in my life,
Right.
and I took it for granted. And so those are painful. Like when I think about those, and I'm glad we're doing this episode because I usually don't think about that. Sorry.
Whoa, she got real with it.
I'm a hand. I communicate with my hands.
Yeah.
So when I don't usually think about it, but when I do, it's like this little painful, like, ouch, in my heart. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a good friend. And I do miss that friendship because we were best friends, I would say. We went on adventures together. We had long talks until late hours of the night. We had a common language. And I fucked that one up royally. So
I'm glad you're saying this because I think I'm flashing back to several friendships I fucked up because I wasn't in a good space either. And I think we all have done it. If you haven't done it, you need to go out and fucking ruin a relationship real quick. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it is so sad when you think back and know that you don't belong anymore with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I had a squad. They talked about squads in this book too. They called it a web, I think, but just like a group of female friends. And I sort of had that at the university. And then I went off the rails and they all settled down. They got married, they had kids, they all have kids, they all have beautiful children. I see them on Facebook. They sometimes get together. They're all, I think, pretty close. I mean, from what I see.
Well, and everything you see on Facebook is absolutely accurate.
Right. But, to be fair, I think, gosh, I sometimes see these two paths in my mind, and I took the junkie path, and I always think like, what would my life look like? But, I can't have those regrets. All I can do now is like be the friend now that I wasn't back then. That's how I can make amends. And that's what my mentor tells me. Like, you abandon all hope for a different past, Isabella,
Yeah.
Just be the friend now to the friends you have that you couldn't be to those then. And that's how you make your amends. And that makes me feel a little better.
Well, it's just like, it's so funny because we've spoken every week for over a year, and we became friends when you were still in addiction, but we were so far away from each other, it just wasn't even like an issue for me. Like, we were such surface friends at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like hard for me to even comprehend you letting someone down in that way. So it's like, I didn't know that about you. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I think it's obvious, like in addiction, like you say, somebody active in addiction is the most selfish human being on earth. But like, it's hard for me to picture you not as like a great friend.
Yeah.
It really is. But I've gone through selfish times in my past too, and I think, how did my friendships make it through it? Some of them didn't.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't.
Do you mourn any of your friendships?
Well, let me first start by saying I have a lot of friends that I've had forever. My oldest friend, I was 0 years old. Mm-hmm. She's 11 days older than me. We were brought up together. Our parents were best friends. So I have had a lot of thread friends that go through my entire quilt. So, I'm grateful that they lasted, because I can't believe they did, like, especially in my 20s. I'm sure they saw me in the bar and was like, like my friend Brandy Biddle was probably like, ooh, she's a mess tonight. Okay.
Again.
Yeah. So, but, there's one that I kind of do. And I realized later that she was going through a pretty bad issue. And one day she just quit calling me. She just didn't call me ever again. And I was devastated because we were so tight. Our lives were wrapped around each other. And she just left me in one day. And that's when I got my squad, my Chicago squad, which we call the Wolf Pack.
Really?
And I'm so grateful for them. I mean, they taught me how to be in a group of women in a healthy way. But I remember like 6-8 months later, we were all like loaded at an after hours party. And the certain friend says, I want to tell you what happened. And I looked at her and I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And my friend Stephanie's like, yes, we do want to know what happened. And I was like, I got to say, like, if you leave me, I don't need to know why. And I said, there's no going back. And now I will say we are surface friends. And I feel like she could call me if she needed anything, and I would absolutely be there for her. And all is forgiven. But like, I was devastated, when that happened. And like in your 20s, the girls say in the book that 20s are your prime time for making friendships. I don't even feel like you really even know yourselves in your 20s.
Yeah.
Like, so
my
like
20s were my prime time for destroying all my friendships.
all my relationships.
Boom.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. I destroyed every relationship, friend, lover, doesn't matter. I was a ticking time bomb.
I think that was a typo. I think they meant destroying and not forming.
Yeah. What are your pet peeves when it comes to friendships?
Oh, gosh. I don't like when people make demands on me. I just cannot do it. I get very irritated when my friends demand from me to make them okay, right? Like, I need my friends to be okay.
Okay, can you make me feel better about that statement, please?
No. But I have this friend who's like, I really needed you and you didn't call me. And I'm just like, do not make me responsible for your well-being. I cannot do that. Like, if you make me responsible for your well-being, I will, this is something
Fail.
that I can't stand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I think when we talked about this before, when my friends do not give me the benefit of the doubt.
I think that's the key to friendship.
Yes.
Like if you like, okay, my friend Jenna, I'm just going to use her as an example.
Yeah.
For some reason, if she lets me down, I am right there giving her every goddamn excuse in the world. Well, you know what? She's been busy. She's had a lot on her plate. She's got this going for her. I bet this. Yeah. I mean, I think that is the key to friendship, is giving each other the benefit of the doubt and giving each other grace. Yes.
Yeah. Amen. So there we go. So.
Yeah. I think that, I'm right there with,
And this is why in the book, I literally, because we have a document where we share, our thoughts and our feelings about the book. I typed WTF because there was and
that means what the fuck, people?
Aminatu went to a party that was at Anne's house. It wasn't her party, but she was hosting it. But it wasn't her party.
Wasn't her party.
And Aminatu is African American, and there was no other African Americans there, and she got very upset with Anne. And that made me angry. I know it was probably the tipping point, which means there was a whole bunch of other stuff, and that was just the tipping point. But I was angry at Aminatu for not giving Anne the benefit of the doubt. Because
I felt really like there was something missing in that story.
Yeah.
There was something missing. Yeah. That her anger was, because there is nothing about a friendship that caters that hard. If they're not sleeping together, then she should not expect a friend to cater that hard to her. If Jason throws a party, he better invite all the people who make me comfortable. He better serve the food I make. But if you throw a party, if you happen to order something I like, I'm just nothing but grateful.
Yeah.
That's not a friend. That doesn't go on the friend list of things you should expect.
Yeah, and I think that's what irritated me about the book was that I very often, throughout the book, there was threads of Aminatu getting annoyed, not giving Anne the benefit of the doubt, getting annoyed with Anne for not catering to her. And whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's just how I received it as a reader.
My God, I don't know if they were trying to make it current events by talking about interracial friendship and how woke we should be. Maybe they were trying to get that into the book. And if that's I'm ready to learn too, but I wish it would have been how the book should have been, how to be compassionate with a friend of a different race. I just didn't and I don't understand, and I would love to learn, I would not want to not be invited if there were no other Black people there. If I were Black, I would still want to be invited.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole thing is...
Should she not have invited her if she didn't have any other Black people to invite?
I don't know. I didn't
understand.
Yeah, it confused me. So I would love to... I would love to just sit down actually with Aminatu and Anne and just talk about it, because there was something missing for me and I didn't know what it was. But
I didn't get it.
What really made my blood boil was...
Her blood boils.
It was boiling. Was the fact that she didn't give her friend this grace, and she was thinking what Anne isn't doing for me. Anne is she's busy. She's got a whole party at her house. She's got, it's
yeah,
but she should have, so I don't know. That is my pet peeve, I think, when it comes to friendship.
Yeah, not giving the benefit of the doubt again. Okay, let's just say I did expect that. I'm Aminatu. and she knows I'm uncomfortable when there's no other Black people there, I'd be like, oh my God, Anne must be busy if she missed this big part. Like, I probably should have been here helping her.
Yeah.
I probably should have made the guest list, helped her make the guest list, because she's obviously so overwhelmed that she forgot that I require having other people here to make me comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's the self-centeredness, where because when you give friends the benefit of the doubt, you think about them over yourself, and I think
that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal, I think, in friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I go too far in that. There is a too far lever on that one. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So should we take a break? A little banter break?
Let's take a banter break. Let's talk about our Patreon account.
Oh my
Can you
gosh.
do that for me?
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we are just getting started here, and we would love to continue to record these podcasts and even edit them to make them really, really awesome, because, they're raw and that's us. But in order to do that, we need your help. So
Money.
We have a Patreon account. Patreon is just a wonderful site where you can donate to support artists like ourselves. And our Patreon account, you can log on and just support any amount you want on a monthly basis. You can subscribe.
$1 or $1 billion is
$1 billion
enough.
is totally fine. All I need is $1 billion, and that's going to be totally cool. So our Patreon account is www.patreon, that's patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast, written together. We Need Help Podcast, written together, www.patreon.com. We Need Help Podcast. So support us, then we can hire an editor and we could be even more awesome. Yeah.
Welcome back. We just wanted to bring up that we're sponsored by ourselves.
So far.
I own the StellaBox.com. It's a box that you send to your girlfriend when she's in a breakup. It sheds some light on her darkness. So check it out at thestellabox.com.
I love the Stella box. First of all, it has all this awesome stuff inside it, and it has my favorite lipstick, which Lizzy created. So it's awesome.
Yep, it makes her teeth look white, which is all that matters with the lipstick.
It's super awesome. And then we are also sponsored by the 3Bs, which is my coaching company that I run with two friends, and we're females. And what we did was we took lessons from nature's finest, which is bees, because they can run a really efficient hive. They're always flying forward despite the odds. And they're beautiful creatures. So we took the best lessons from bees and we use it in our coaching program. So if you'd like some coaching sessions, come check us out at 3bs.com.
Perfect.
3bsworld.com.
3bsworlds.com.
Yeah, 3bsworld.com.
3bsworld.com. Okay, who you got sitting there with you?
Okay, so for our listeners who can't see, there is, how would you describe it, Lizzy?
A life-sized stuffed man with a big heart, naked otherwise, which
He's got shorts on.
Oh, he does. He has shorts. I couldn't see
he's got
him.
shorts on.
Sure he does.
So I wanted to talk about, for this segment, like how a friend just really came through for us, how a friend just really came through. And this is my story of how one of my best friends just came through for me in a time of total darkness. So I
think it's really important in a friendship, for friendship, a true friend will dig your ass out of the dirt, right?
Yeah.
When you're shattered, she comes in with a broom and a dustpan and lifts you up and gathers you. So, okay. So tell us about this beautiful man by your side.
Yeah, this was, so about 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, which, I'm fine.
Cancer?
Yeah, it was thyroid cancer. And it's so funny because I was like Googling it, of course, when I got diagnosed, and everyone's like, it's the good kind of cancer. I was like, oh, okay. Scary nonetheless. And, I had to get my whole thyroid taken out, and then I had to have radioactive iodine, which is scary. Like, they lock you in this room behind these double doors. They give you this dose of you're like basically radioactive. And then for 2 weeks, they're like, you have to isolate. They're like, you can't be around anybody. And this was
You're
like
alone.
way before COVID. I was like, there wasn't so much online stuff going on. And I couldn't even like hold my dog because they're like, no, you're radioactive. Like, just chill.
Well, which is not the first time she's been radioactive.
It's like, whatever. So, but I was lonely. I was really lonely because it was like 2 weeks of, I couldn't even like, I don't know, I couldn't be close to anybody, right?
And during a scary time.
During a scary time. And I felt terrible because the radioactive iodine did a number on me. So I physically felt just horrible. And it's like those times when you're sick, you just want to be hugged. You know, you just want somebody to hug you and tell you it's going to be okay. And here I am, like, just isolated in an apartment.
Lonely.
So I'm sitting here and totally sad. And I get a text message from my best friend, Maria, open your door. And I was like, all right. And I opened my door, and there was, his name is Ludek, which means dude in Polish.
I love it.
And Ludek was sitting in the hallway, naked but with shorts on, with this big heart and a bouquet of flowers. So yeah, and she tried to make him look like my fiancé Maciek.
And she nailed it.
She nailed it. And she said,
nailed it.
She said, this is Ludek. You can hang out with him. You can hug him if you need a hug. And I laughed so hard. I mean, I don't know if you can imagine this because I'm like, darkness falls across the land, you know, like my shades are drawn. I'm like, I got cancer, you know, I'm feeling sorry for myself. And suddenly I open my door and there's like a stuffed dude in the hallway with like flowers with like this ridiculous smile. So
that
yeah.
And a guy that looks exactly like your fiance with the heart-shaped nipple and all.
Yeah, with with the nubbin. So she sends me like the documentary of how they had she went to a seamstress and she had to like explain like a Polish seamstress made this. And they were like driving, like she sent me the video when they were driving with him and he had a seatbelt done and like it was really cute. And that is when I felt lifted up. I mean, I was like, I couldn't stop smiling, and it got me through it. And every time I looked at Ludek for those 2 weeks, I would laugh. So,
well, every time I look at him, I laugh, and every time I think about it, I think that's a badass friend you got there.
Yeah. For listeners who can't see, you can log onto our website. We'll have some exclusive content, and we'll have pictures of Ludek there.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. He will be on the We Need Help podcast Instagram. He actually might make a lot of appearances in our life.
He might.
Coming up. Yeah, I love Ludek.
I love Ludek too. How about you? Did a friend ever like come through for you big time? Can you share a story?
Yeah. I've had several friends come through for me, but my favorite story is when my brother hung himself. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite story is when my brother committed suicide, and I called my friend Stephanie, and I was devastated. I was his last call. It was extremely traumatic.
Your brother was an addict, right?
Yeah. My brother was bipolar. Mm-hmm. And my brother he was done. He was done with his life. And it was really, he had told me everything he wanted, and I didn't believe him that he was going to do it. And, so I was extremely devastated. So I called my friend Stephanie, and she said, I'll meet you at your house. And she proceeded to just push pause on her life for an entire week. Went down to Central Illinois with me to tell my mom that her child had died. And she basically proceeded over the next few months to keep me alive. I mean, she really did. And, there's not a lot of people that will do that. And I was a mess. And I was so devastated. And she lifted me up. She took care of me. And it was like, to this day, there's no repairing, there's no, like, I can't repay her for that because I was broken. I was shattered. And I remember like at one point I went and sat on her ottoman and I said, I think you need to take me to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm just not doing well. And she said, do me a favor, give me 24 hours. I was like, okay, like, I don't think I'm like portraying how serious this is. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. And she basically put me in line with this crystal therapist and like kind of got me up, picked me up. And like to this day, I look back at that time and I remember thinking, okay, this is friendship. This is what it is. I mean, she just sacrificed her entire life for a long time for me. And
go ahead.
And that was that I think that locked in our lives forever.
Yeah. I think that's so hard. And I always, wonder when somebody dies and you're a friend, like, what can I do for that friend? And there's always like, if you need anything. And I never like that. It's like, no, I'm going to go do something. And I remember one of my friends here, Evelina, when Maciek's mom died, she just cooked. She cooked us meals and she just kept bringing them over. And I know that's an American thing, but that's not a Polish thing. So she just knew and she just brought over so much food and I could not stop crying. I was so grateful because we didn't have time to make food or, or even order food or even think about it. And it was just you're
not even hungry, but you have to eat. You're not even hungry. Yeah.
And I love that Stephanie just showed up.
She just showed up.
She didn't call and say, if you need anything, I'm here. She just showed
here. Up. She's like, you're meeting me there and I'm going with you and you're going to I'm going to be here. And I mean, she did everything short of wiping my ass. You know what I mean? Like she was there and it was a hard time and she showed up. It was incredible. Yeah. And that's what friends do. Like I remember when Jason's dad died, it was COVID. So we could only have like, a few people at the funeral. It was really weird, because like, I don't know, like our funerals in my family, they're like hundreds of people and we're all devastated. Like, it's a shit show. But there was only like 4 people. And I remember like I'm sitting there and in walks my friend Jen. I call her Mama Jen, MJ. If I ever refer to her, she is fucking amazing. She's one of those people that are just like the real deal. Yeah. And her face walking into that funeral, because it was like not my family. They're my family, but they're my in-laws. And like watching her face walk into that funeral, I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. Like showing up is a huge deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In friendship, like being
showing
there.
up. Yeah. That is, yes.
That's a huge deal.
I agree with that. What about the other side of the spectrum, friendship breakups? Because, so what was interesting, bringing it a little bit back to the book is so the tipping point was this party where Aminatu felt like Anne was not taking care of her, not catering to her, blowing her off. And then it sort of went downhill from there. And they had a podcast together. They had a business together. So they decided to go do couples therapy as a friendship. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, when you're intertwined on a financial level, I think that probably was a business decision.
Yeah.
More than it was a friendship decision. I mean, my friendships ebb and flow a lot. I don't know. Friendship therapy, I would be willing, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to think. I've had friendships end, and it's time for them to end when they end.
Yeah. I know you've broken up with you've written an article about breaking up with a friend. So can you tell the story? Because I think you're so brave, because I don't have the balls to break up with people, like friends, you know? So how did you do that? Can you tell that story a little bit?
Well, I don't know if brave is the word, but I value my time immensely, and I value other people's time, and I don't want to be falsely standing in their bubble. But I broke up with face to face broke up with a friend. We had just closed on our house from moving to Naples from the Virgin Islands, and we were displaced here after the 2 Category 5 hurricanes that hit the Virgin Islands. And we ended up staying because we wanted to spend time with Jason's dad. He wasn't well. But anyway, long story short, we were horrible circumstances to get into this house, and we had just closed on it, just moved in. I was feeling great. And I had invited her last minute to go to the Vegan Kitchen, which is one of my favorite restaurants here in Naples. They have a curry bowl that's to die for. And
Feature sponsors.
Oh, I love it. You don't need to. I will promote you all the days of my life. But it's life-giving. So I sit down, I'm having my favorite food. I had just closed on my house. All the furniture I ordered fit. It was like I was feeling fucking good, you know?
Yeah, you were in the zone.
And I was feeling myself hard. So, but this friendship, I had connected with this friendship right when we were displaced. She had just moved to Naples. We had hung out quite a bit. I will say that there were some red flags that I didn't know I was staying in Naples. Had I thought I was going to be here forever, I probably wouldn't have been friends with her anyway. But I was kind of loose with my standards just because I didn't think I was staying. I mean, I have anybody who's rude to a server, she's rude to. She was like, I saw that. She was
that's
very
another pet
picky with
peeve.
things.
It's
a huge pet peeve.
Yeah.
Don't even try to be friends with me if you're going to be annoying at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she sits down and she piles into the booth, and I was like, hey, what's up? She was like, and like I said, she was already on my nerves. So it really wasn't and she says, oh, I'm just stressed out. I said, what? Oh my God, what's up? She's like, I'm just worried that there's going to be a hurricane here this year. Again, I can't handle it. Now, let's keep in mind, my life has been uprooted by 2 Category 5 hurricanes. I've just gotten into a home. My daughter is just now feeling some sort of semblance of stability. And it washed over me like a wave that crashes you down into the depths and you don't know if you can get up. Her words were just are you fucking kidding me? And I felt backed into a corner, and I just said, I didn't want to do this, but I need you. It's me. It's not you. But this friendship has come to an end. And and I just said, I don't have the energy for it. It's not working for me. And I don't take it personally. It's my energy level. And I can tell you, I don't think anybody's ever told her that they didn't want to hang out anymore, because she was pissed.
Yeah.
She was not
She did not
happy.
take it well. No.
She did not. And I got to tell you, it was devastating because I didn't want to go back to the Vegan Kitchen for a couple of months. It was like a spectacle.
Have you run into her since the breakup?
No. And in fact, maybe the universe just made that happen, but I think she moved back from which she came.
Okay.
I don't think it didn't, the whole place didn't work out for her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't her. I want to reassure everybody. She was her from the get-go.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the energy for it anymore.
Yeah.
And there are several friendships that I've had since moving here. I mean, when I first moved here, I was like open to everything, like trying out new friends. There's been several relationships that I just haven't had the energy for here in Naples.
Yeah.
And that's okay. The pandemic cleared a lot of those out for me.
It really did.
It's like one of the little sparkles of COVID that has happened, and there has been many for me. Like, I realized that I was an introvert playing an extrovert.
I'm the same. And I think that's why we connect as well.
Yeah. I mean, I can be extrovert. Like I play one on TV.
But I love my space, sitting down. Yeah.
Yeah, I really am actually a pretty severe introvert.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't ever accept that about myself because I'm good at being social.
Yeah.
But it actually takes the life out of me.
Yeah.
Pretty badly. But, I broke up with her and I felt like $1,000,000 after she left.
Yeah.
While she was sitting there waiting for her check, I said to her, I go, if you want to leave, I will be glad to grab your lunch. Like I'll pay for your lunch. She was like, nah, no. She was not letting me pay for that curry bowl. I'm going to tell you, she would not.
Oh man.
I just wanted the moment to end so bad.
I know.
So uncomfortable.
I'm sorry. I'm proud of you. I don't know if I would have been able to handle it. Because I get, I'm codependent too. So I get, when things are uncomfortable, I want to sailor dive into the floor. Like just.
I just wanted the moment to end. I knew it was right, but I wanted the moment to end. Yeah. And I've been there several times. Like I started the Stella Project, my company, and it's all about, connecting with women and not competing with them. And
shine theory.
Yeah, shine theory. Absolutely. It's absolutely shine theory. But, women are hard on each other in friendships. We are not realistic. Me included. Like I think it's one of the hardest relationships to navigate because unlike a lovership where you're getting something out of it. You're getting like either sex or, you're sharing the bills. Friendship is only for joy.
Yeah.
You don't get any tangible, you don't get a baby out of it.
Right.
You don't get
a house. You don't get a house.
You don't it's not
get
for
a mortgage.
Procreation. Yeah. You don't get you just don't get, it's not for anything. And so friendship is one of those things that are really hard to navigate, especially if you are codependent or are a taker. If you're a taker, you're never going to be happy in a friendship.
Yeah.
For long. Because people get tired.
They get tired. And they've had enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and I have noticed, there are people who think they have a lot of friends. There are. There's, people out there, I have tons of friends, this, that, and the other thing. Do you? What's your definition of friendship? Because mine is being very involved. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of energy. And if you have too many friends, you're not doing any of them any you're not able to give into these friendships. They're acquaintances, right? I mean, the worst part about friendship for me is, feeling tired in it sometimes. And that's my problem. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at that part of it.
Yeah.
I never have been. So, what's the hardest part in friendship for you?
I think managing my friends' expectations of me It's that sometimes friends have these expectations of me, and I feel like I'm not, fulfilling, their expectations. And I think that's hard for me, because I'm more of a live and let live. Like, you don't call me for a couple weeks, it's cool. I'm cool. I'm really cool because I am an introvert as well. So I don't really need, the boxes checked that you're calling me this much time or something. And I think sometimes I've heard like that I don't invest enough, and I think I struggle with that. Am I investing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I stretching myself enough for this person? So I think that's what I
wonder
struggle
if
with.
this is just a question. Is it any of our business what other people's expectation is of us?
I don't know. And that's a question. That's a good question.
That's just a good question for when we write a friendship book, because it's clear that the fucking world needs a real friendship book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what business is it of ours? I mean, I just assume that you think I'm amazing.
I do think you're amazing. Yeah.
And I think it's safe to assume that I think you're amazing.
Yeah.
And I think my friend Jen thinks I'm amazing. I think my friend Stephanie thinks I'm amazing. I think my friend Jess thinks I'm amazing. I wonder if I'm wrong. My friend Kelly thinks I'm amazing. My friend Brandy thinks.
Let's make a list of all the people.
Okay, so which leads me to my number one bestie in the world.
Yeah.
She doesn't always think I'm amazing. That's my sister Katie.
What makes her your number one bestie?
Loyalty.
Okay.
We didn't talk about that in friendship, did we?
Oh God, but I got an issue with loyalty, so that might have to be. I think. I don't know about that. I have a friend who's like, loyalty is her number one thing, but she wants loyalty above morality, and I can't get on board with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother, yeah.
Tell me more about that. I think this is an issue. I think people expect loyalty in friendship. Yeah.
She's okay, maybe it's her conception of loyalty, because to her, loyalty means I'm on her side no matter what she does. But sometimes she does really fucked up shit. And I'm not judging her for it. I just bring it up.
No, I'm just kidding.
I bring it up. I'm like, look at how you're destroying this, whatever she's destroying. And she's like, accuses me of not being loyal.
See, my idea of loyalty is at you actually saying that to her.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's her concept of loyalty.
Definition of loyalty is still being on your side, but bringing up the hard stuff.
But is loyalty like, what if you just grow apart as friends? And because I've been there too. I've been there where friendships have just grown apart. But we have stuck it out because of this weird loyalty. And I don't think that makes sense. Like,
okay, so I think there are forever friends.
You do.
There are friends that are forever. And they're still, you would do anything for. They can have their kidney friends. They can have one of my kidneys.
Okay.
You're one of those friends. Stephanie's one of those friends. My friend Jess is one of those friends. I mean, it just goes on and on. Like, no matter what. Now, Stephanie and I will go months, almost years without speaking sometimes.
Yeah.
We're not as close as we used to be. That doesn't mean I don't love her. And I would hide a body for her. I would hide a body for you. My sister, Katie, and when I speak about loyalty, she doesn't like a lot of who I am. But I'll be goddamned if anybody can bring it up to her without her defending me.
Yeah.
And I think that is loyalty. Like like somebody could say something about, like, I never have to worry about if she's talking shit behind my back.
Yes. Okay. That kind of loyalty I can
That
get on board
is
with.
loyalty.
That is loyalty.
I
Yeah.
don't think agreeing with someone is loyalty.
Okay. Thank you.
Agreeing with someone is actually fake. It's bullshit. It's not real. It's the worst thing you can do in friendship, in my opinion, is like, okay, if I say that, does this make me look like shit? Or I don't even want to say the F word. You know, does this dress make me look bad? And you're like, agree with me. I love it. And then I go out and I look like two pigs fighting underneath a blanket.
Yeah.
That's not friendship. That's lying.
Yeah.
Don't agree with me. And that's one thing. My sister won't agree with me if she doesn't agree with me.
Yeah.
But man, I'll go to war with her any day of the week because she is the real deal. I'm still willing, that girl that bullied you in kindergarten, I'm still willing to go after her if you want me to. That's friendship. That's loyalty. Somebody who has your back no matter what.
Yeah.
But agreeing, that's not friendship.
Yeah.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
and making each other comfortable isn't friendship either.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, tell me I want you to tell me the hard truth. I had this saying, your real friends stab you in the front.
Oh, okay. We're going to write that down. I love that. I love that. Okay, that's good. Ooh, mommy likey. Okay, that was weird. I take that back.
So what are you taking away from the book? Like after the whole experience, what are you taking away from it? I'm taking a couple
of things, and I think we talked about this earlier. We need to write a friendship book. Yes. This isn't fair. We looked for friendship books.
Yeah, we looked.
This isn't fair. Time. This isn't realistic. This isn't doesn't have the depth that friendship can reach.
Yeah.
So I'm taking away that we'll be starting that. We're looking for people who want to publish, putting that out there. And they talked about when they started it, it was with Aminatu and their friend Gina. And Gina edits the podcast. Yeah, I'm sorry. They started the podcast. Gina edits. I'm looking for a Gina for us.
Yeah, we need a Gina. Putting it out there. We're putting it out there. We need a Gina. We need an editor.
We need a Gina. We need an editor desperately. But this got me thinking about I had kind of been feeling bad about some of my friendships that hadn't remained close. And this book, thinking about them, God, I'm so grateful for every friendship, especially yours. These friendships that we have in our lives, they are the difference between a mundane bullshit life and a life that is highs and lows and hugs and showing up and letting each other down and learning to talk about it and connecting on a level that is your soul.
Yeah.
This is soul connection. And they got me thinking about that by simply not describing it at all. What are you taking?
Men.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I'm taking away an appreciation for all the friends that I've had in my life. Those ones that are here, the ones that are gone, all of it. Because I do realize that every friendship is different. Every friendship is complicated or not, or, so this deep sense of gratitude. And what I am taking away from it as well is just showing the friends that are in my life an appreciation for them. I actually, during the reading of this book, called one of my friends. She moved to China, and she's kind of alone there. And I called her and I just said, I really appreciate you. I appreciate that I can call and talk to you. And she's like, you don't have no idea how much that means to me. So, and
how much I needed that this very moment. And I do think that that's one thing that we need to embrace about friendship. When you think about somebody, their heart is calling your heart.
Yeah.
Their energy is calling you.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be a call to action too. When we think about someone, reach out. They're calling us.
Yeah. And this, the title of the book, How We Keep Each Other Close. I'm going to The ones I have, I want to keep close. So
Me too. Me too. I love you. I love all of you.
so
I love you. I love you. And I did want to bring up one more friend.
Yeah, okay.
One more friend, which is my mom.
Oh.
My mom is
Love you.
a really cool friend to have.
Yeah.
And she shares in the funny and she shares in all that. And I just want to super thank her for being my friend post raising my annoying ass.
I want to thank my mom too, because it's so funny how that develops. And I think it's once I hit my 40s, we started becoming friends and sharing. And we didn't share stuff before, and now we're sharing. And it's really wonderful how the mother-daughter friendship can evolve into a friendship.
Seeing them as a human is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess what? Your mothers are humans, people. God.
What?
What? Oh my God.
All right. Well, what are we doing next week?
What are we doing next week?
So, should we do the negotiations mastermind? It feels kind of
It feels like a little. I don't know. We'll post what we're going to do on the afterbirth.
Yeah,
we'll decide what we're going to do, and then we'll afterbirth it. And I look forward to today. We're actually, even though this is going to be posted next week, we are launching the podcast today.
Oh my God.
It is
so exciting.
I'm so excited. And
Yay.
you know what? I would say get involved with projects with your friends.
Oh yeah.
It's the coolest.
It's so fun.
It is. We're so lucky.
Yeah, we are. So anyway, yes.
Okay.
If you can't help yourself, go fucking help somebody else.
It'll make you feel better.
It'll make you stop thinking about yourself for 5 minutes.
Yes, selfish prick.
Right.
Well, I love you and see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, girl. Bye. Ah.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Rate and follow us if you like us. If you don't, please don't.
And come visit us at www.theweneedhelppodcast.com. There you can find show notes, links for books. You can join Audible, which is, how we actually read our books. We listen to them. And we have special exclusive content just for you. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon account. That's where you can support us financially because we need it. And it can be anywhere from $1 to $100 billion a month, whatever you can afford. And the link to our Patreon account is www.patreon, and that's spelled patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast. And you can support us on there. We would really appreciate it because we do need help.
Awesome. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks,
Bye.
loves. Bye.